Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose. You are you. It is great to see you here this morning. We're going to stand up and start the celebration of our service and of our souls by singing this very lively version of This Little Light of Mine. Through Reverend Susan's divine guidance, we breathe into that power of love. We express it. We inspire it. It inspires us. And we become still and know the essence of who we are, which is love, as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
An excerpt from Kitchen Table Wisdom by Rachel Remen. Some years ago, a young psychiatrist observed one of my sessions. I was working with a former gang member whose hands were covered with tattoos. He spoke of the deep love he now felt for his young wife who was dying. The ways in which his capacity to love had caught him unawares and had healed him. As he shared insights about himself and experiences of intimacy and tenderness with his wife, I glanced over at the young psychiatrist. He had stopped taking notes. His eyes were now filled with tears. As this patient left, I asked him if he had learned anything useful from the session. He smiled ruefully. We all are more than we seem. Actually, we are all more than we know. Wholeness is never lost. It is only forgotten. Integrity rarely means that we need to add something to ourselves. It is more an undoing than a doing, a freeing ourselves from beliefs we have about who we are and ways we have been persuaded to fix ourselves. Even after many years of seeing, thinking, and living one way, we are able to reach past all of that to claim our integrity and live in a way we may never have expected to live. Being with people at such times is like watching them pat their pockets, trying to remember where they have put their soul. Often in reclaiming the freedom to be who we are, we remember some basic human quality, some unsuspected capacity for love or compassion, or some other part of our common birthright as human beings. What we find is almost always a surprise, but it is also familiar, like something we have put in the back of a drawer long ago. But once we see it, we know it as our own. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. And so let us breathe into that knowing our own, knowing that the soul that we are, the wholeness that we are, integrity that we are, is completely intact. That we might have forgotten it, but it waits for us, stretched in smiling repose, waiting for us to remember the truth about our existence, the I am presence that lives and moves and has its perfect being through each of us. So let us sing together with that knowledge, with that deep and powerful heart-centered knowledge, not only for ourselves that we are the I am presence, but knowing this truth for all beings everywhere. Let us begin. I am remembering who I am. May all of the sights, all of the sounds, may everything remember who it is and remind us of who we are. Let us know this together, breathing in deeply. And then exhaling, opening our eyes in love and service to what is, as it is, and so it is.
we are all imbued with light. And it is that seeking of the inner light that prompts this song. Silent, you'd better keep silent. Don't let them hear you speak. Shh. Softly, you'd better tread softly. For everyone knows that God only shows favor when you bow and scrape, and lay prostrate, and wail upon a wall. But something small and still inside said, no, no, not at all. Hush now, listen, you'll hear it over and over again. Hear God say, I love you, over and over again. Head down. You'd better keep your head down. Don't let them catch you standing tall. 'Cause everybody knows you got to fit in. 'Cause everybody says you got to fit in to get into all the right places with all the right people. So you bow and scrape and lay prostrate and sacrifice your peace. But something small and still inside said, forgive, love, release. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And love them, for they are one with you. Release your burden, release your fear. For I am is my name, and I am always near. Oh, I am always here. I'm always here. Hush now, listen, you'll hear it over and over again. Hear God say, I love you. Hush now, listen, you'll hear it over and over again. Hear God say, I love you. hear it over and over again. I love you, I love you, you're perfect as you are, you're perfect as you are. I made you perfect, made you perfect, you're perfect as you are, as you are.
You know, one of the things that we talk about sometimes behind the scenes is this phrase, ishkala, which means being intoxicated, God drunk. You know, ishkala, mubadala, means God is love, lover and beloved, and I felt that so deeply in your song. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The name of the message this morning is, Have You Seen My Soul? And it was inspired by the image in that Rachel Remen reading that Hugh did, where she talks about how, you know, when she sees somebody who's trying to find their soul, it's like they're patting their pockets, like, where did I put my soul? You know, like when you lose your car keys or your whatever. I'm fond of saying that the kingdom of heaven is like a pair of bifocals, and you look all over the whole house for them, and then where do you find them? On your head, right. That's like the kingdom of heaven. That's like your soul. You can search for it everywhere, and it's been with you all along. The soul, the wholeness, the authentic self, your life's purpose that you are seeking is seeking you. And yet many of us don't understand that, partially because the word soul is confusing to many of us. Does anybody here have a really good definition of what the soul is? Maybe, maybe not. You know, we've I'm not sure if I heard that, but anyway, we'll talk after service over there. But, you know, I think, Ray talking about original sin, I think a lot of us, if we were raised in more traditional religion, learned that the soul was the thing that got to go to heaven if we were good enough, right? Yeah. And that's not the case in this philosophy or in other mystical teachings. You know, I've been speaking with people in the center lately, in the congregation, about the idea of the soul as like a field of energy, a field of infinite possibilities. It's like Rumi's field that embraces all opposites. It is the field that is beyond our perspective, our individual relative perspective. It is that and so much more. And yet the soul is this field, and it is infinite, but it is also intimate. Can you get the power of what that is, to be infinite and intimate at the same time? Is that not miraculous? That there is this energy in life that is infinite, that encompasses everything, that encompasses all possibilities, things that are far beyond our imagination, but it is intimate, specific to us at the same time. The other thing about the soul that I find so fascinating is that, you know, there's different quotes about the soul. One of the things that C.S. Lewis said is that you do not have a soul, you are a soul. And I would take that even a step further and say, not to say the opposite of C.S. Lewis, because I have a lot of respect for him, but I would say you do have a soul, but also the soul has you. It's like that Rumi quote about the drop in the ocean, you know, that you're not just a mere drop in the ocean, you're also the ocean in the drop. And it's that Joni Mitchell quote that I've extended. Joni Mitchell meets and marries Bonnie Rose. And this is if I had a wife, she would be my wife for sure. I really like her music. But anyway, you know, where she says, we are stardust, we are golden. And not only are we the dust of the star, I mean, we are the dust of a star, but we're also the star in the dust. You get that? There's a star in a dust. The star of the dust is in you. The star that is in the dust is in you, shining its light. And the impress of the entire universe, all of the galaxies, how many galaxies are there? Anybody know? Billions? Billions? I'm looking at you. Untold billions of galaxies, all of that, all of the life that is on this planet and beyond, all of that is is the field of possibilities, and it is personalized, allowing its impress to come into us. How does this relate to science of mind? We often talk about the soul as the divine feminine, and the soul seems to be something. It's the second layer in that symbol up there, by the way, but I won't go into that right now. That's super boring. Anyway, it seems to be that thing within us that can take the impress, take something in, take in the infinite field of consciousness or awareness or whatever we want to call it, and turn that into something infinite and specific that expresses outward. You got that? Good. Ray got it. Good. I want you to write a song about that for next time, okay? Thank you. You probably already have, right? Yeah. So the soul is amazing, and yet because it is so amazing, I think it's sometimes hard for us to wrap our human brains around it. So that's what we're going to try and do today in 20 minutes. And I have to say that I think, I often talk beyond my comfort level, beyond what I really understand, but I do think I really understand the soul's purpose. And I say that with great humility and awe and wonder. And the reason that I say that I understand this idea of soul's purpose is that probably as little as 3 or 4 years ago, I remember having a conversation with somebody, and they asked me how my day was going, and I said, I'm just dealing with all of the soul-crushing responsibilities of running a nonprofit. I would never say that now. I would never, ever say that now. I would never give something outside of me the power to crush my soul, because my soul is so much bigger than that. And so how do we get from point A to point B? I was talking about the soul-crushing responsibilities of running a nonprofit, and I have to say, I would never say that now, but I mean, it's been pretty intense here lately. There's lots of stuff going on that I won't share, but it's all fine, but it's not soul-crushing anymore. It's sort of fun. It's like a puzzle, right? It's not a problem, it's a puzzle, okay? But it's not only this space, it's all of our lives. It's perhaps raising a family, or working for somebody, or dealing with the world, what's going on in the world. Is that soul-crushing? No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So we can move, we can transcend from that place where we feel like our soul is constricted, where we feel like we maybe don't even know our soul's purpose, where we don't know what we're doing here, where we don't know what to do next. We can move from that place into a place of transcendent grace that is absolutely on purpose and absolutely finds awe and wonder. And as the poet said, David White said, absolutely knows that everything is waiting for us so that we may express our soul and have the soul expressed back to us. So that's what we're going to do today in 20 minutes or so. And we'll see how that goes. Now, I just invite you to take this message personally, because I have such faith and such hope for every single person sitting here in this congregation that you are here on purpose. Not only here in this church, but you are here on the planet Earth on purpose, that there is something mystical and wonderful that love or joy or God or the higher power wants to express through you. So we're going to look at that today. One of the ways to approach this topic is to consider that there is some confusion around the soul, and that sometimes we don't express our soul purpose. I thought Ray's song backed that up so beautifully when, I don't remember the lyrics, but talking about how we think that we have to jump through all these hoops, like what are the words? Tell me the words. What do we have to do?
Bow and scrape and lay prostrate and wail upon a wall.
Yeah, bow and scrape and lay prostrate and wail upon a wall. Anybody? Yeah. So, and that goes back to what we talk a lot about here, is that it seems that religion has taken on kind of the human consciousness of feeling that it's a meritocracy, that we have to earn merit in order to be favored in the eye of God, in the eyes of God, and also to have a purpose that is worthwhile and that is mighty and that is significant in the world. And the truth is that we already have that, but the way that we get it is not through all of those things that Ray said, bowing and scraping and prostrating and wailing upon a wall, all of those things. It's not through all of those things in themselves, unless you want to do it, unless your soul moves you to do that, right? You know that I bow backstage before I go out every Sunday. I bow to the congregation and say, use me as a power, use me as a force here so that I can help people, so that I can do some good, so that I can use my soul to enliven and enlarge and enlighten the souls of others, and then they feed it back to me and I get larger and it's just so beautiful. You have no idea how beautiful it is. So, so we have this notion that that's what the soul is, and reading Rachel Remen, she said that the main thing that gets in the way of our appreciation and respect for our own soul's purpose is something very specific. I'm actually going to tell you a story about what that is. I went to a seminar with Rachel Remen probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was on finding one's purpose. It was mainly medical professions, and there was a chaplain, and there was me. And she told a story about a man who was a 90-year-old millionaire who had worked his whole life and had built this empire of something in technology. And she went to his 90th birthday party, and there were tributes and toasts, and everybody was saying wonderful things about him. And then after all of the tributes and the toasts, she had a moment alone with him. And he said, "You know what the best thing about this party is?" He said, "I'm 90 years old now. I think I can stop living for other people." His whole life, he had done what other people wanted and expected of him. And I mean, he had things to show for it, but he had felt like this kind of soul-crushing energy of not being able to express what he really wanted to do. And it took him until he was 90 to figure out that that was optional. And so we're all here to know that whatever age you are, right? 24, whatever age we are here to express something wonderful and mystical. And Rachel Remen said that the main reason that we do that, the main reason that we suppress our soul, we suppress our soul's calling, we suppress the acknowledgement of our life purpose, is the search for approval. She says that approval is the most prevalent form of judgment. Isn't that interesting? Approval is the most prevalent form of judgment, because when somebody approves of something that we do, then we start looking for that approval everywhere. We start looking for that good job, she says. And approval is not a bad thing, but there's a higher calling. There's something greater. There's something greater than the approval of others that moves through us and causes our heart to expand and causes us to express our soul. The other thing that I think gets in the way, it's actually a form of approval, but that gets in the way of the fullness, the expression of the fullness of our soul's purpose, that causes us to feel like sometimes we've lost our soul or we don't know what our purpose is. The other thing that I think that gets in the way is the pressure that we put on ourselves. How many of us are waiting to find our soul's purpose before we start really living fully? I know I did that for years. I was trying different things and thinking, one day I will find my purpose and then I'll be happy. And it was as if I was expecting that I would step into my purpose and it would be great and it would be wonderful and there would be no process involved. I would simply arrive at my purpose and a choir of angels would go, "Oh," right? And just everybody, "Oh, good job." And a choir of angels would just say, "This is your purpose, you have arrived, God bless you." And it is so the opposite of that. We're putting pressure on ourselves to find our soul's purpose, and we're also in that way putting pressure on the soul. And the soul doesn't respond well to that kind of pressure. I'm going to try and tell you what I mean by that. I am talking beyond my comfort zone. Yet, no, I'm not. I know exactly what I mean by that. I take that back. And I'll tell you why I know what I mean in just a minute. Okay, so I just got scared because I'm going to talk about Meister Eckhart. He's really scary. He's really hard to read, right, David? Yeah, David understands him. But I was in a class where David and Brock and I were teaching, and David was talking about Meister Eckhart and how Meister Eckhart said, okay, really the best way to love God is not loving God for what God is going to give you, right? We've all been there, right? I have. The best way of loving God is not loving what God's attributes can give you. That's like joy and peace and love. The best way to love God, the purest way to love God, is to love God for God. To love God for God. Huh. Y'all look a little thorn at the moment. You know that word from Watership Down? Thorn means like, huh, what? Or scared. It's like, love God for God. How do I do that? What does that mean? I'll tell you, I know what it means, because the other day I arrived at church after the rain. Norm and I were in the Ravitat, and there was water on the roof, and we poked the roof, and all the water came down like it was Disneyland. It was like being on that log ride in Disneyland with the singing bears, right? It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And I got soaked, my pants got soaked, and I tried to sort of muscle through. I had the soul-crushing, that are not soul-crushing anymore, math and stuff I needed to do in the office, and I tried to muddle through with wet pants, from the Disneyland and the Ravitat, and then I ended up just saying, okay, just get real, just rummage through the supply of homeless people's blankets, get a blanket, take off your pants, and wrap the blanket around you. And so I did. And wouldn't you know, the blanket looked a lot like something Carmen Miranda would wear? So of course, that inspired taking a bunch of flowers, which were really the pens, putting them on my hair, and then dancing around, and that has the video.
Mamãe, eu quero, mamãe, eu quero, mamãe, eu quero mamar. Dá chupeta, dá chupeta, dá chupeta pro bebê não chorar. Dorme, filhinho, do meu coração, pega a mamadeira.
Mama quiero. And that had the video, and I was so consumed with joy, and it was such a beautiful form of procrastination for the math that I had to do. And then I understood Meister Eckhart because of that, because I wasn't expecting joy to do anything for me. I was just loving joy for its own sake. Thank you, Joy, for teaching me finally what Meister Eckhart meant by that. Keep pointing at David. And that's how it is with the soul. We love the soul for its own sake. Not that someday we're going to find our soul purpose and it's going to take us to this place where finally we're respected, thank God. No, we love our soul for the soul's sake. And it comes out in small and beautiful and mystical ways that we would never, ever understand if we were acting simply from the head. But we're moving from the head into the heart, into the body, into the being. Head, heart, hand, all three working together, body, all of that working together to evolve our soul's purpose. Now you may be saying, well, okay, how do I do that? All I can do is tell you to meditate on this and see how this comes out individually for you, and I can tell you what works for me. What works for me is to recognize, as Rachel Remen says, that the soul is beyond job description, the soul's purpose is beyond job description, and it is more of a compass than a destination. My soul's purpose seems to be joy, but yours may be something about love or kindness or deep contentment or something like that. But using joy as a compass to do what you're called to do. And that's the tricky part. That's when the ego wants to come in and say, wait a minute, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this because I may not get approval for doing this. Recently, I did a children's book for a friend who lives in Dubai, and it took hours, and it was really costly, and she didn't ask me to do it. It was pictures of animals and poetry, and I wrote to people all over the world that I know from when I went to India, and we made this collection. And the whole time I was doing it, I was saying, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I think to find our soul's calling, we need to do things that are irrational. Things that don't make any sense to the ego. It took hours to make that book. When I went to ship it and I found out how much it cost to ship them to India and Dubai and Jordan and all kinds of places like that, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to do this. And there have been so many ripples from that single action, from that action of making that book, from actually that multiple action of saying, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but something is calling me to do this. I have a friend who describes calling as something that you don't really want to do, but you can't let it go. It feels ridiculous to the ego. It feels ridiculous to the ego, and it will not let you go, and that's how I was with that book. And one of the best moments was when, This friend that I have, her name is Zaire, and she lives in Dubai, and she was the last person to receive her book. I probably sent out 50 books, and for some reason, I sent her book and it would come back to me, and then I spent another $40 and sent her another book and it would come back to me. She was the last one to receive it, but when she did, she received it on a day when I really needed to hear the message that she gave me. She sent me a picture of her son opening the book, because I made it for him. Her son's name is Daniel, and she said, can you just send me some pictures of your animals? And of course, it turned into this epic production. She sent me a video, actually, of her son opening the book and opening up the dedication page and seeing his name there and spelling it out, and all of a sudden, he realized that the book was for him.
I could bring it to school because this year we're learning about
You're talking about what?
animals and ocean animals and
Oh, there's a connection with what you're doing at school. That's cool. Let's see what the book says. Whoa.
to read it.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Hearts.
Oh.
Hmm?
Should you want me to read what it says? You want me to read the words?
Camel.
Aww. Are you giving it a hug?
Mama, write the dots there on the heart.
Write the dots on the heart.
Yeah, and I can draw the
May I read what's on the first page of the book, Danielle? On this page? Wait, can I read what it says here?
D-A-N-Y-A-N.
Do you see D-A-N-Y-A-N? Look for it. I bet you'll find it. Look in this sentence here.
D A L D A L Y A L.
Is this book for you, Danielle? This book is a gift for Danielle and his mother, Sarah.
That a woman in America made this book for him, and seeing his shoe button eyes just get big as he looked at the cameras, that's me, Mommy. It was so worth it, you know? So it's letting whatever it is, your God quality, joy, love, whatever it is, be your compass. Doing things that are ridiculous to the ego, and then recognizing the interconnection. That story that I told about Daniel opening his book, that I connected with his mother, and then I connected with him, and then he connected back to me, and now I'm connecting with all of you. Noticing the ripples that our small actions cause into the world, that gets us in touch with the field, the infinite field of possibilities that is this field of resonance that is the soul, right? Yeah, good. You should come every Sunday. Just love it. Yeah, getting in touch with that is so powerful. That has moved me past this place of feeling like my soul is being crushed. Because really, what feels soul crushing about life, politics, whatever it is that you're doing, it's that it feels like sometimes that what you're doing is futile. It feels like what you're doing is impossible. We're a center of love. How is that going to help the world? I got news for you. It is completely helping the world. It is completely helping the world because I bear witness to the ripples that this congregation is causing every single day of my life. And we are marvelous. We are fantastic. We are wonderful. And we are evolving the soul of humanity and the animal kingdom in community. And what could be better than that? So, what have you learned today? What have you learned today? Are you willing to just take a risk and to know that there is a high and a beautiful purpose for your soul, or you would not be here? Not only would you not be in the planet Earth, but you are here this morning by divine appointment because something in your soul wants to evolve and express. I absolutely know that for you. And it can be so simple. It can be so simple. It can be downwardly mobile. It can be something that is just the opposite of gaining merit or approval. It can be doing something like writing little children's book that's never going to go anywhere, and then it goes everywhere. It can be something like that. It can be something, whatever it is that you're called to do, and do it, especially if it feels like it's ridiculous, if it feels like it's not going to get you anything other than joy or love or satisfaction or peace or happiness. Will you do that? And then look for the ripples. See how the soul is rippling back to you so that you can give more, right? Spirit gives us everything so that we can give everything back to Spirit, and then we receive everything, and then we give back to Spirit, on and on and on and on, like a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cycle of emptying and filling. How wonderful is that? And then tell somebody about it. You know, tell your community about it. Tell your family about it. Tell us about it. We want to hear how the soul is manifesting and expressing in your life. Community is a beautiful metaphor for the field of possibilities, and we are here together, as I said, evolving the soul, evolving love, evolving kindness on the planet Earth. And I'm so grateful for all of you. I feel like sometimes that I am the luckiest girl in the world because I get to serve here, and I get to hear oh my God, I get to hear great music over there too, and I get to know all of you, and you're just wonderful. I get to pray for you. Aren't we all the luckiest girls and boys in the world? Right? Right? Yeah. So that's it, folks. Let's pray. All right. Let's turn within. I just resonate into this beautiful, beautiful place within me that is the power and the presence. The power and the presence of the life of the planet Earth, of the soul, of consciousness, of awareness, of whatever it is that we want to call it. Love, joy, peace, happiness. It is the wholeness that is the truth of everything. And I know this as my own, as our own. And if I speak in the first person, it's not about me, it's about all of us, the sacred I am. And so together we connect, I connect with this power and this presence, with this love, and know the truth of its existence, living and moving and having its perfect being through each of us. And so in this place of gratitude, I just open into this spaciousness, into this awareness of knowing that every soul has a divine purpose, and that mine is being revealed to me in ever-expanding ways. That I am willing to let go of the need for approval. I am willing to do what calls me, even if it seems ridiculous to my ego. I am willing to take a risk on joy or love or greater kindness. I am willing to look at the impact, to count the ripples, and to get skilled. That divine love builds within me pure and holy skill at seeing the works of Spirit in life. Take that in. I know it is true, and I hold it deeply for myself. And with a heart that is so filled with gratitude, I say thank you so much for this transformation that has occurred here in this service today, in this beautiful gathering of this community, of this force field of open-hearted individuals that are looking to evolve on the planet Earth. I'm so grateful for all teachings. I bless all paths to God, churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, atheists, fundamentalists. I bless everyone, for everyone is a blessing. And with a heart that is filled with love and gratitude, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, God. And I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is. I am so blessed. I am so
Have you ever found yourself in a conversation thinking about something that the person said or that you should have said? Or thinking about something that you're gonna say if they could just shut up for a minute? This song is a story about two folks who kind of try to get together, but one's lost in the past and the other's lost in the future. Nobody is sitting right there in the moment where it all is. This song is called Mine the Moment. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. Maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. One, two, three, four. He was a loner, alone and on the road. He'd only known her for 2 weeks, some 2 years ago. 2 years of crying, of pining for the past. Why did she, why didn't we, why couldn't we have love that lasts? She was a waitress, waiting and all alone. She remembered like it was yesterday, the traveling man from 2 years ago. 2 years of hoping, of coping with fantasies. When will he return? When will I learn if he's the one for me? While she cultivates her mystery and he ruminates in history, the love they seek is beyond both space and time. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. And maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. It's all we ever have. Here comes a worry, there goes my best regret. Will it be or is it not to be? Well, must I always remember the thing that I'd rather forget? Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever have the kind of life I've always dreamed. Oh, I dreamed a dream. I can't even get past mistakes that I made in my teens. But while I'm terrified of my mystery and mortified by my history, the life I seek has been hiding in plain sight. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. And maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. It's all we ever have. The moment is all we ever have. Mind the moment. This here, this now. Oh, to excavate its blessings, blessings. Seek and find it in the here and now. All the power, all the blessings, blessings. Can I listen to you like your words are treasure? Can I be with myself? No judgment or measure. Can I forget and forgive? Time. Maybe we'll all forgive the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. Maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. And maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. It's all we ever have. The moment is all we ever have.
Great. While I get this together, tell us, why are you so happy?
I'm so happy. That's the first time I've ever performed that song with the band. These guys, even that.